Good, good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss about origin of sociology. My name is Syed Sabih Ahmed. I've been affiliated with teaching profession for the last 25 years in a row. I've been teaching within and beyond the national boundaries, and sociology is one of the subjects which got the expertise on. Right. My contact number, if anyone who want to contact me for further assistance in O levels and A level sociology, they can contact me freely 24/7 at my WhatsApp contact number 0092 335 0380 897. I mean, from all around the world, people who want my assistance can contact me for sure regarding O and A level sociology, right? Uh, Now, today, uh, now we are going to discuss about origin of sociology now first, right? When it comes to origin of sociology, see, we are sitting in the 21st century right now. So the subject sociology is not being taken into consideration in this era, but long, long time back, when we talk about mid 18th century, or beginning or end of 18th century, people in those days too were facing social problems, were having different issues, social issues, and their behavior were too catered by the society, by the people around them. And in those days too, the people used to be the writer and the individual used to be the actor too, right? But before that, people were not uh, thinking about such a subject which should deal with such kind of human problems, human issues, human lives, or lives within a group of people, life when alone. But anyhow, well, in the mid 18th century, people started pondering, people started taking this into consideration that they should be a subject, they should be something in which we can study and research about our social life, our social problems, and how the group of people around us actually affect our behavior, our attitude, and how we can predict an individual behavior in a given circumstances. They start pondering it, they start considering it, but they considered it informally rather than making it more formal and more seriously. They considered it informally, and to tell you that a person, Emmanuel Joseph Saiz, in 1780, that was the end of 18th century. I mean, he actually gave the concept of sociology then, but as it was not taken seriously into consideration, so uh, it went by. But during the 19th century, sociology was taken very seriously in an academic discipline now. The reason for that was, due to industrial revolution, due to enlightenment, due to French Revolution. The French Revolution and Industrial Revolution created an upheaval in the society, and so the social activists started taking it into seriously, and they started pondering about the impact of urbanization, globalization, and how the people suffered due to class differences. When in France it was monarchy, so the monarch actually used to suppress or oppress the peasant, the commoners, and the noble used to take all the advantages. It's all history. So the sociologists or the social activists of those times took it very seriously, and it was the first time that sociology was considered seriously to be in an academic discipline, right? So it is said that in 1838, a French philosopher and a mathematician, Auguste Comte, who is considered to be one of the father of sociology, actually gave this name sociology to the subject. And this actually subject was used to focus on different social issues, on the behavior of individual, the predictable behavior of individual in different given circumstances and social problems, right? Now, you can see Auguste Comte. He was a German Marx, Karl Marx, a well economist. He was an economist. He was a philosopher. He was a political analyst. He was actually a social activist. Then Emily Durkheim, functionalist, and Max Weber. These are some of the names who are considered to be those social activists, early social activists, who actually developed foundations on social structure, foundation theories on social structure, on class conflicts, on social integration and influences of social group. The social structure, the structure of society, is entirely different in different societies. I mean, if you consider Muslim society, they actually the structure of the society is entirely different than those society where Hindus live, or those society where Christianity lives. So there are different societies in the world, and all the societies have different social structure, and that social structure basically has a greater influence on an individual behavior and attitude, right, and what they are. So, and class conflict, it is known from the moment human came into existence. This class differences is always there. I mean, the upper class people. I mean, take an example of France. In France, when it was monarchy, the noble used to oppress the peasant, the lower grade people, the lower class people. And you might have seen in the Hinduism, there is basically different caste system, and so there is a conflict in this among the classes of, and and what is social integration? How we human being integrate with different people of different society and of the same society, and how our behavior is influenced by the group of people around us, the social group, you can say so. So Auguste Comte, Karl Marx, Emily Durkheim, and Max Weber were actually the early sociologists or social activists who actually gave foundation theories on such matters. So when we talk about origin of sociology, though, we can say that sociology formally and seriously it came into existence as an academic in an academic discipline in the 19th century. But before that, people were concerned about such factors. People were concerned about social activities, the social structures, the influence of group, social group on an individual behavior. But they failed to took it in a formal way. So so it means that sociology, the people start pondering of such things well before sociology came into existence as an in an academic discipline. Okay. Now, development through ages. I mean, how we are going to discuss it in detail now. I mean, we're going to discuss it about the ancient roots. We are going to discuss about the 18th and the 19th century, and definitely in this modern era, in the 21st century, you know very well that sociology is playing a very important role in an academic discipline, and people from around the world in O and A levels, and even from other boards, I mean, in American boards as well, they are opting sociology as a subject, and people are becoming sociologists and psychologists to serve humanity and to understand the human behavior and to cater to them whatever they can. So let's start with ancient roots. Greek in early days. I mean, when we are talking about Alexander the great leader who actually conquered half of the world. Greek were in those periods. Socrates belongs to Greek. Plato belongs to Greek. So these all philosophers, they all belongs to Greeks, and Greek were very educated nation in those days. So people of Greece, they started pondering about, they started thinking seriously about the relationship between the natural laws and the human-made customs, the human-made traditions, human-made culture, the values and the norms. And so they started taking it into consideration, but they started pondering it. They started thinking about it, about the social problems and their, the consequences, and how they can actually bring out the people from the social problems, the remedy, you can say, right? And so it means that, as I told you earlier on, that sociology came into being on the face of the world in the 19th century, but before that, we have seen in mid of 18th century, at the end of 18th century, Emmanuel actually make gave the concept of sociology, right? And before that, Sir Isaac Newton, a renowned physicist, a scientist, he also want to emphasize that there should be a subject in which we deal why an individual behavior changes when that individual is among the group of people, right? That is society. Now, Herodotus, he was a historian, and Ibn al-Khaldun, he was a great Muslim scholar and a philosopher. They worked on comparative studies of different societies. I mean, they studied different societies, they compared that. So that's mean before 18th and 19th century, people started thinking about such things, such issues, I mean, human issues, social problems, and social integration, social structure, and all those kind of things. Now, formally, it being opted in the 18th and the 19th century. And due to French Revolution. Now, when we talk about French Revolution, French earlier on, now it is parliamentarian form of government, but in those days, in 18th and 19th century, it was basically a monarch was there. So monarchy was there, the noble people belonging to the court of the monarch, and the monarch themselves actually used to impose high taxes on what do you call it, on peasant, on poor people, and their survival turned out to be quite difficult. The sustenance was a problem. I mean, there was poverty everywhere. People were fighting with each other for sustenance, for survival, and that leads to French Revolution. And so it seems now that when you oppress some class, when you oppress people of your country, so one way or the other they will come against it. They will fight for the rights, and social activists then they started seriously taking it. That why the French Revolution started in the first place, and what happened due to the monarch being actually oppressing the peasants and the poor people of France. So, and then there was industrial revolution. When we talk about industrial revolution was started in the end or mid of 19th century in Great Britain. People from rural areas started moving, leaving their parents, their sisters and brothers, and taking their partners and their biological kids, start migrating to big cities like London, like Birmingham, to get better prospects, to get jobs, and to earn money for they and the family sustenance. So at that moment, before that, it is considered that mostly people in rural areas used to have an extended family structure. But when, due to industrialization, it is believed, though people think that nuclear family structure was very much there before industrial revolution, but some say that due to industrial revolution, people started migrating from rural areas to urban areas, and urban areas started getting thickly populated, and that thickly population start creating upheaval. The family structure from extended family changed to the nuclear family structure, and due to industry earlier on, you might be aware of that education was the function, the major function, one of the major function of the family now. But after industrial revolution, the industry want literate people, the industry want educated, knowledgeable, technical people. And that family cannot provide. So people started. So from there, the mass education concept started. The education was taken by from the family to from the family to schools, college, and universities. That's mean other element of the society took this function from the family, and that was due to industrial revolution. So sociologists or social activists started thinking, about that what effect it is having in the urban population, in an urban life, due to this urbanization, and how the family structures change, and how the function of education being taken away from the families and been given to formal school, college, and universities, right? So a lot of changes been there with that. A lot of social problems also been encountered. So so this actually gave rise to questions about class, about urbanizations, about social order, right? And so in this era, the social activists, they became more active. The sociologists became more active, and they started taking sociology very seriously, and it came as a formal subject, and being inducted in school, college, and universities curriculum, and taken into education, into educational discipline. Now, when we talk about Auguste Comte, so he is considered one of the father for sociology, though some say that Max Weber, Emily Durkheim, Karl Marx, they are basically the sociologists who did quite a lot for sociology in the early stages of it. But as in normal, it is considered that Auguste Comte is the father of sociology because he gave the name sociology to the subject in 1838. And he was among those sociologists or those social activists who believed that the society could be studied using scientific research methodology, like we used to do research in physics and chemistry in biology. So Emily Durkheim was also in favor of this. Tolkien Parson, the American sociologist who was a functionalist, was also a part. Those who actually believe in scientific research methodology, like Auguste Comte. Now, three stages of human civilization. Now, when we talk about human civilization, the moment we are talking about the moment human being came into existence in this part of the world, in this part of the planet, and that is Earth. So, human civilization has gone through three stages according to Auguste Comte. The first stage, he actually gave it the name theological stage. This was the period of human civilization in which human beings were more concerned, more touchy, and more inclined toward their religion, whether it is Islam, whether it is Christianity, whether it is Hinduism, whether it is Buddhism, or any religion of the world. There are a lot many. So their custom, their culture, their norms, their value, their traditions was in accordance with their religious belief. I mean, if we talk about the Muslims, the Muslim festivities, the Eid, Ramadan, the holy month, and then it is Eid al-Azha. There are lot many other occasions which the Muslim celebrates, and the way the Muslim wear dresses, wearing cap on their heads, and they used to offer praise in the mosque. Their way of eating is different. They used to eat meat as well as vegetables, right? And when we talk about Hinduism, so Hindu followed their culture according to their religion, because according to Hinduism, slaughtering animals and eating the meats is prohibited in the religion, so they do not eat meats. They generally eat vegetables, but in the modern era, there are a lot many modern and liberal Hindus who are at this time eating meats as well as vegetable both. So they are vegetarians as well as they eating meats as well. But in those days they were strict to that. And when it talks about Christianity, they were more inclined toward going to the churches on Sunday. The custom was in accordance, their dresses, their foods, and their living style was in accordance with Christianity. So this is the early period of human civilization, when and which is known as theological stage. In this stage, people from around the world, their culture, their society, their norms, their values, their tradition was all designed as per their religious belief. Now, then came the second stage or second phase of human civilization, that is metaphysical. And metaphysical is the phase in human civilization when science actually started holding a strong grip in the society, and people were divided either to have their customs, their culture, their norms, their values according to the religious belief or scientific reasoning. Now, to tell you one thing, omen, or we can say superstitions, is something which do exist in the European society earlier on, but due to scientific reasons, people are getting remote to it from it. So this was the era where it was a mix. Uh, some people were mostly forming the culture, custom, tradition, and the way of living according to the scientific reasoning. They do not believe in other things. And some people were still inclined toward or still cleave to the religious belief, and the culture was accordingly. But and there were some people who were following both of them, right? They were actually their life structure, their society structure, or their cultures, norms, and values. It was a mixed plate of religious belief and scientific reasoning, and this period of human civilization is known as metaphysical. Now, the third phase of human civilization in which we are living at this point of time, that is positive and scientific. I mean, that started from 17th or 19th century, I don't know. So, I mean, people start focusing more on scientific reasoning rather than religious belief, right? And the society, the culture, the norms, the values, the belief is totally purely based on scientific reason, and religious is getting less important. People are giving less importance to the religious belief. You can see it in the western part of the world. You go to America, you go to European countries, you go to Western countries, you will see it that people are not much inclined toward religion there. Though in the rural areas in the Western world, people still are toward the religious. They are inclined toward the religious belief and follow that. But in big megacities, they are not actually following the religious belief. Their society, their culture are very much materialistic. It is very much according to the scientific reasoning. So Auguste Comte gave these three stages through which human civilization went. Now, coming to sociologists, there are some of the names: Karl Marx. Karl Marx is a sociologist. He was a French philosopher. He actually focused on conflict between the classes. I mean, there is a conflict in the society, no doubt. You cannot deny that. There is a conflict in the society on the basis of genderism, on the basis of religion, on the basis of class, on the basis of ethnicity, on the basis of disability. But Karl Marx and his followers are only concerned to focus on the social problems which is related to class conflict, right? And Imli Durkheim, he is basically a sociologist who studies society, who studies about about suicide in different societies, and he is functionalist, right? And so he actually worked to establish sociology as a legitimate academic discipline and used systematic study to show how weak social ties contribute to social problems like suicide. If we have a strong social tie and among each other, if we are friendly, if we got coherence with each other, so social problems reduces. But when the ties become weak, the social problems getting grave. Suicide being one of the examples he gave. Max Weber, he used historical and cross-culture material to analyze how social group influences individual values and behaviors, and as a fact, it is said the society is the author who write the script, and we the individual, and we as an individual, basically the actors who play the role according to the written script of the society. So Max Weber has more concern about how the group of people, the society, or the different element of the society influence the value of an individual and the behavior. Now, Harriet Martini, I mean, a key early sociologist he was, and he was a translator. She was a translator. She published systematic international comparisons of social institutions and critiqued social inequalities in the United States. Now, definition of sociology, right? Now, when we talk about definition of sociology, how sociology to be defined, in simple word, if I go to define, if I want to define it in one sentence, so sociology is a systematic study of an interaction between the individual and the society. Sociology is a systematic study about the interaction between individual and the society and its impact. Now, in other words, we can say sociology is the scientific study of human society, social behavior, patterns of relationship, and culture, examining how groups, institutions like family, government, religion, and social structure shape our lives, and action and belief from intimate interaction to global trend. It is a broad discipline that analyzes everything from social inequality, race, class, gender to social change using systematic method to understand the big picture of human social life and solve societal problems. So this actually gave you a very clear and a broader prospect of what sociology is all about. Now, coming to how the name, which was sociology, the name sociology was given to the subject. So the sociology is derived from a Hebraic term. It has been the half part of sociology name has been taken from the Latin word socius, which means companion, associates, uh, friends, society, right? And the Greek word logos, which means to study or science. So it's a hybrid term. The first part of sociology is been derived from Latin word socius, which means companion. The other part, the logi, is been derived from the Greek word logos, which means study of and science, right? So this is how sociology has been given. The name has been derived by Auguste Comte. And to end this, I'm very thankful for bearing with me to this tour of origin of sociology, and I'll be very soon uploading other slides regarding different topics of sociology. Baba, take care of yourself.